casting and Dhruv Rathi hurt Sikh sentiments in a reckless grab for views. And just when we thought that this desiccated ecosystem couldn't unravel further, another YouTuber and influencer, Jyoti Malhotra, yes, the lady on your screens, seen at different places with Nawaz Sharif's daughter, Maryam Sharif, or at the border, or in Pakistan, or at the Pakistan High Commission iftar parties. This woman, Jyoti Malhotra, has been arrested because she is an alleged Pakistani asset. Yes, an alleged Pakistan-groomed influencer. What began as a democratization of media has become a sewer of disinformation, narcissism, and foreign manipulation. Worse, these individuals answer to no one despite holding sway over the minds of an entire generation. Jyoti's is an alarming case. She was weaponized by the Pakistan state to sway public opinion in Islamabad's favor here in this country and to get the unsuspecting public to take a benign view of Pakistan, as if Pakistan was a benefactor and not an exporter of terror. Let me run you through why she has been arrested, viewers, and you'll be shocked. She was arrested by the Civil Lines Police in Haryana and booked under the Official Secrets Act and the BNS. She was developed as an asset as part of Pakistan's anti-India information warfare stratagem. During a visit to Pakistan in 2023, Jyoti was honey-trapped by Hassan-ur-Rahim, alias Danish, an official in the Pakistan High Commission. Jyoti travelled with Danish to Indonesian resort island Bali. Danish introduced Jyoti to several Pak-based ISI intelligence officials. She's accused of communicating with them through WhatsApp, Telegram, and Snapchat. Jyoti allegedly kept in touch with her handler, Danish, after the Pahalgam attack also. That's when, viewers, you remember, the government came out with a strict advisory saying that please cease all communication, all interlocution with Pakistanis. But she kept on. Jyoti made a video in which she attempts to blame India and the Pahalgam victims for the carnage. Investigators focusing on unearthing if Jyoti was part of a larger pro-Pak influencer spy ring. This is what now the thrust of the investigation is pointing towards. At least 2 arrested from Punjab have been accused of leaking sensitive information and photographs of the Army and Air Force bases to the ISI. Jyoti was also brainwashed, so compromised, she even dehumanized the victims of Pahalgam, blaming them for their own carnage and not the Pak-trained terrorist. Viewers, can you imagine that? And also imagine how many of her followers would have been misguided into doubting their own government, that is the Indian government, as it was preparing to hold Pakistan to account. First, listen to Jyoti.
में गवर्नमेंट की ही नहीं बट हर उस नागरिक की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है जो घूमने जाता है, जो जिसको वॉचफुल होना चाहिए. सिक्योरिटी मैं जानती हूँ कि कश्मीर में हर जर्रे जर्रे पर चप्पे चप्पे पे सिक्योरिटी होती है, इतने आर्मी के इतनी पुलिस के फोर्स होती है वहाँ पे. फिर भी अगर ये चीज़ हुई है तो कहीं ना कहीं हम भी कसूरवार हैं, हम भी दोषी हैं.
Now viewers, Jyoti represents only one end of the spectrum. But the government is also cracking down another strata who also push a false narrative that gives Pakistan an edge in the propaganda disinformation war against India. All this under the cover of democratic rights and their own status. Fortunately, that hasn't stopped. The fact that these people are in very influential positions hasn't stopped the center from, for instance, cancelling the OCI card of an academic based in the United Kingdom, citing her alleged involvement in, quote, anti-India activities, unquote. This is Nitisha Kaur, who teaches politics and international relations at the University of Westminster in London, has been hypercritical of alleged rights violations by the Indian state in Jammu and Kashmir in the aftermath of the 2019 decision to abrogate Article 370. Here influence, viewers, in this particular case, many think borders on insurgency, not influence, but insurgency. The less said, the better about, quote, Aman ki Asha, unquote, circuit. In this, there's Congress Party's Shankar, PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti, who also have been accused of exerting a blatantly Pak-skewed toxic influence on public discourse and for generating sympathy for Pakistan. Others from this group like NCMP, which is a National Conference Member of Parliament, Aga Rahul, are also accused of pitting Kashmiri Muslims against non-J&K domicile Indians. Mehbooba Mufti, for example, has said, viewers, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah's call to revive the Tulbul navigation project amid ongoing tensions between India and Pakistan is deeply unfortunate. Our people deserve peace as much as anyone else. Weaponizing something as essential and life-giving as water is not only inhumane but also risks internationalizing what should remain a bilateral matter. Imagine, viewers, this is the view of a mainstream politician in this country that has been embraced by not only the BJP but also the India bloc in the past. The BJP, of course, learnt their lessons, but not so much the India bloc, viewers. Can you believe it? So, blood can flow, but Pakistanis must get their water. We must dehyphenate, draw false moral equivalence. There's Shankar here, viewers, Congress leader, serving. Till today we are living, he says, with the consequences of that partition. Is that the unresolved question of the partition reflected in the terrible tragedy in Pahalgam on April 22nd? Can you believe it, viewers? He's linking some absurd, completely off the wall happenstance to use it as a justification for Pahalgam? Whose side are these people on? Aga Rahula. He said, quote, which is being or what is being called tourism. It's not that in my view. This is a cultural invasion. It's happening by purpose and by design. And a particular set of people are being brought intentionally by design and for specific activities which are executed as part of a cultural invasion, if you please, viewers. So Indians who are going to Jammu and Kashmir, enriching the people there, are invaders, cultural invaders. India needs to make this malign ecosystem accountable, viewers. The sooner we do it, the better it is. This is absolutely no longer about influence. This is about sovereignty now. It's become a question of sovereignty. And let's open this up tonight. Let's put some fundamentally straightforward questions. You know I don't beat about the bush, viewers. Syed Asad Abbas, let me bring him in straight. Syed Asad Abbas, I know people like you talk about human rights. You talk about human rights, you talk about freedom of expression, free speech, all of this to justify all sorts of stuff. Now I want to ask you, are you also part of that league? And I have to ask you this question, very straightforward question. It's very, very simple. That wants to make the question of peace or aman into a tamasha, sir, and hide behind that to push all sorts of narratives. I want you to tonight take a position saying that people like this, these influencers, these politicians, should be excommunicated. They should be isolated. The Election Commission should take away their right to contest elections. Their political parties should be made accountable for the statements of these people. Would you be willing to go that far, sir? I hope you will tonight in national
Rahul
interest.
sir, I've always believed if there is great power, there is great responsibility and equal accountability. The league that I belong to, sir, is my beautiful country of India, Bharat, that is Hindustan. The fact of the matter is, we saw three political leaders, Mehbooba Mufti, we also saw Ruhullah, and we also saw Shankar Iyer. Coming to Mehbooba Mufti, let me take all three sitting ducks one by one. Mehbooba Mufti was a former ally of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Bharatiya Janata Party, who previously called her anti-national, but they were in cahoots. Why? Because they wanted to rule, to govern Kashmir. But all guns blow. It went flat and they had to derail the same. Coming to Shankar Iyer, it was Mr. Rahul Gandhi who took a step and suspended him when he made comments against the Honorable Prime Minister of our country, Narendra Modi ji. The fact of the matter is, now coming to these so-called influencers like the Jyoti Malhotra that we see, the only way to deal with spy espionage is iron hands. There is no other way to go. And the message with Operation Sindoor has been clear to
Let me quickly
"Doodh
step in.
mango,
No,
kheer
Mr. Abbas,
denge,
one second,
Kashmir
one second.
mango,
I'm
kheer
glad.
denge."
Even I will endorse the latter part. But look, when you have politicians who give such a wide berth by turning into quasi-insurgents, look at Nitisha Kaul, for example. What does she represent, sir? Do you agree with her or disagree with her? Do you believe Article 370, when it was abrogated, there were a large number of people in Jammu and Kashmir whose human rights were violated? I want to ask you, sir, do you accept that statement?
Respected sir, with respect to Nitasha Kaul, my stand has been absolutely clear that anybody who speaks against my country has absolutely
I want you to
no
tell
right
me,
to
sir,
be
do you
there, sir.
agree with the sum and substance of what she has said about Article 370 and the abrogation of Article 370? Do you agree with what the Congress has said, for example, about the CA? Because this is what creates this ecosystem. When the Congress or some other political parties talk about issues in a divisive, polarizing manner, a large number of others get their cues. These people are not just doing things randomly. They are preaching to an ecosystem. So I want you to answer the fundamental question. Do you agree that CA was an assault on the rights of Muslims? Yes, no?
So I've been absolutely clear with my stand of CAA. When it comes to our country, my stand has been sacrosanct. The fact of the matter,
I want you
I
to
was
tell me that
against-
CA was not an imposition and discriminatory towards Indian Muslims. Just tell me that. I'll move on. I don't want to waste my time.
Sir, it was discriminatory on the basis that the
There you
law
go.
of the land in the constitution was made keeping religion
Article
in mind.
370, viewers,
We are a
was also
secular
similarly
nation.
discriminatory in their book. Now,
Thumbs up. Give me 10 seconds,
when political mainstream voices like Abbas or the Congress or the PDP or several other political parties go out there, people like Jyoti Malhotra and others, Nitasha Kaul, etc., think that they have the free space to go out there and say all of this, viewers. The allowance begins with a political class. Now, if I ask Mr. Abbas to distinguish, he has a problem.
I'll tell you what the problem is.
No,
Rahul
there's no
sir.
problem, sir.
I'll tell
If you want to
I'll tell
speak
you
for
what
your
the problem
country,
is.
there's no problem.
Give me 10 seconds.
It's
I'll
not a
give you.
problem to be speaking up
Allow
for your
me 10
nation.
seconds.
You can't be saying,
I'll
no,
tell
no,
you what
no,
the problem
Article 370 was a violation of the spirit of the Constitution. CA was similarly a
was?
spirit. No, violation of the spirit when the Supreme Court has come and presided over at least one of these issues.
I'll make a larger point which you will agree with me. to,
And
all the
nobody has
panelists
lost
here.
their citizenship after CA came into. So I want to ask you, I want
yes.
to ask people
Now-
like you, were you misleading?
Allow me.
You are an influencer, sir. Why shouldn't you be brought to book for misleading the public? The CA has been put into place. It happened a year back. Name me one Muslim that has lost his citizenship.
So I was on your show on your previous channel in where I said that CA is not about taking citizenship, but it is about giving citizenship. The only bone of contention with CA, with the Muslim community and the class has been that the law of the land was made a secular land with religion
my
in
God,
mind.
come on.
Why do you
This
want to
is the
make
problem,
a law
viewers. So you
with
see,
religion
when
in
you
mind?
suddenly say, well, no, hang on, Pradeep Bhandari, would you like to respond to him? Because this is the problem. Viewers, when influencers will speak the language of separatists,
No, there is no.
then there is a
separation here.
problem.
No,
People
don't
like me are
mislead
held to
Rahul.
account. No, one second.
No
People like me,
misleading,
hang
yes,
on,
sir.
hang on. People like me are held to account. We are held to standards. But influencers are not. And in the
Rahul.
name of free speech, viewers, they peddle propaganda, fake news, invalidated facts, and they masquerade as truism in this country.
Rahul, influencers speak the language of separatists because Rahul Gandhi speaks the language of Pakistan. And that is the political fuel that this ecosystem gets. On this very day, Mr. Rahul Gandhi yet again has been quoted by the Pakistani media on his comment on the statement of Minister of External Affairs, Shri Jaishankar. When Congress party treats enemies as misunderstood friend, this is what happens, and this entire ecosystem which you were speaking about gets the fuel from Mr. Rahul Gandhi-led ecosystem. So I here charge Mr. Rahul Gandhi directly responsible for fueling this sentiment in this country, this fringe. Please allow me. In the Tukde Tukde gang which was in JNU, who was the political protagonist? It was Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Who is right now the political protagonist for Pakistan in post-Operation Sindoor, when the entire world is celebrating India's victory? It is Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Once it happens, it is a coincidence. Twice is happenstance, but when thrice it happens, it is enemy action. Let me just quote you a certain instance. This is not for the first time this has happened, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, because I believe till the time you do not cure that, none of this will happen. Today it is Jyoti Malhotra, Arman, tomorrow it might be somebody else, because all of them will have this political shield from the Congress party. Go back after independence, Rahul, you are an extremely avid reader of history. What did Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru do? Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru opposed and refused nuclear technology at that time, which was given by by the United States of America. Mr. Nehru was followed by Ms. Indira Gandhi, who 2 months after Operation Smiling Buddha said that she wanted to give the nuclear technology to Pakistan. And Mr. Rajiv Gandhi believed in nuclear disarmament when China already was a nuclear power and Pakistan was enriching uranium. So till the time the Congress party continues its separatist pro-Pakistan stand, continues to question our forces, continues to peddle the Chinese and the Pakistani narrative, you will have these influencers on the likes of Jyoti Malhotra.
Let me ask that question.
Having this fuel to go forward and peddle an anti-Indian narrative.
Mr. Ravi Srivastava, when the ecosystem talks about dialogue, you give oxygen. You give oxygen to people who think they are now part of some back channel. They will land up for iftar parties at the Pakistani High Commission. And when the media, people like me question Indians who fraternize with the Pakistani diplomats, etc. at the High Commission for iftar, you accuse us of being hawks. You accuse us of being jingoistic. You accuse us of being the saboteurs of peace, of dialogue, of aman. When we call for example, complete cessation of what is known as this cultural exchange.
Track
2, this seminar circuit, you say you are killing the idea of India because you are militating against the free flow of ideas, etc., etc. I want you to take a position tonight and say you were wrong. And that all ties, people to people, should be snapped with Pakistan. Because this is what happens.
Good evening, Rahul. First of all, let me tell you that we should talk about the enemy within. The enemy within is these Jyoti Malhotras are just the pawns in the hands of those people. Can you or me get any military secret or defense operation? No, sir, never.
What are you saying,
Jyoti
sir?
Why Jyoti Malhotra could get it? Who are the people behind Jyoti Malhotra?
What is he saying?
Who are the people providing this? Who are the people who are percolating this? Who are the real enemies? As far as the politics
So she's
is
not a real
concerned,
enemy. It's the others who are the real enemy.
she is only a face.
What do you mean she's a face? She's a collaborator.
She is only a face. There are people
what do you mean she's only a face? She's a collaborator.
There are people behind us.
This is exactly on your show how Gaddari against the country is being
one second, by this logic, one second, by this logic, by this logic, a terrorist, one second, there was a terrorist, there was a famous terrorist, excuse me, sir, 1 second, sir, he was a maths teacher's son, caught in the conflict. Viewers,
poor headmaster.
Burhan Wani. By this logic, you see, Burhan Wani is a pawn. He's only a face.
Yes.
You see, poor Kasab, he was an impoverished youth who got sucked into it. You see, a whole brigade of people, viewers, tomorrow will be given a free pass because they are only incidental.
Trial will prove it.
Oh, trial.
What is he trying to say? What do we have to prove?
We should let her go.
Kasab did kill people point blank.
So, sir, but many people said, including a lot of other people who came out and said that it is an RSS ki sajish. And many others said he's only a pawn. which he perhaps was, but that didn't make him any less. No, excuse me, sir. Please.
I object here, Rahul. A collaborator in terror activities, whether he or she is giving intellectual cover to a terrorist, is equal.
Please, 1 second. Let me just ask a simple question tonight. 1 second, sir. I'm just asking a simple question of you, Mr. Srivastava.
Please.
Will you define Manishankar Iyer, Mehbooba Mufti, Agha Rahula as insurgents? Yes or no?
No, they are not.
They are not.
No, they are not.
Because there's something called intellectual insurgency in this country. Sayyid Abbas was clever.
Intellectual terrorism also, Rahul.
Sayyid Abbas was
intellectual terrorists.
One second. Sir, no, hang on. Now just, why would you say that an individual who sits on Indian soil and says that, look, the people who died in Pahalgam didn't die because of hatred, but an unfinished question that dates back to pre-1947. What do you call those people, sir?
That's a nonsense. Utter
So
nonsense.
then tell me, that was the view of Manishankar Iyer. Why are you not suggesting? No, then why are you saying that he is not an intellectual insurgent in this country, peddling a narrative?
See, if somebody
Rahul,
speaks his own mind, then where is the question of calling him insurgent?
Oh my
Speaks
God.
his mind.
So
And as per the
okay,
law,
so hang on. Why
If
should
as
then
per the
Kanhaiya
law-
Kumar, no, then tell me, Kanhaiya Kumar, the
he's
Tukre
not.
lobby, excuse me, sir,
No, sir.
Kanhaiya Kumar, the
Nonsense.
Tukre lobby, why is he in the
Nonsense.
Congress party?
No,
Is he
sir,
not a
no.
political insurgent? Isn't he
was
an
not.
intellectual insurgent?
He was not.
He was
If
not.
Rahul, sir,
So you can
Yes,
ask for the dissolution
why
of
could
your
you-
country.
Why could you not prove and hang him till
Okay,
date?
okay.
May
1
I-
second,
may I
Rajat
just-
Sethi.
5
Why
seconds.
could you not
Let me
prove
bring in
and
Rajat
Five
hang him
seconds,
Sethi.
till
You
date?
see, all these
Tukre
people
was the biggest
are
nonsense
activists.
played in this
No,
country.
1 second. They're activists. They represent a stream of very evolved.
Absolutely, I am in my senses that there was no Tukre gang in this country.
There was no Tukre
Not at all.
Wow.
There's been
No,
no
not
Tukre
at all,
Tukre gang.
So when Hafiz Saeed
At
praises a
least
political
JNU
party, what will you call that political party
Oh,
as?
come on,
When an
Hafiz
intellectual
Saeed.
backs the Pakistan, will you not call that intellectual as an intellectual terrorist?
When hundreds
No,
and thousands of people in the
if
middle
he
of
is on
Mumbai
my-
take the janaza
Sir,
of
you
no,
told-
take
you-
the
you-
janaza of a terrorist,
you sent
what do you
off-
call them?
You sent off
These are
Masood
intellectual
Azhar.
terrorists.
You
That's what
sent
they
off
are.
Masood Azhar.
Wow,
You
this is
carried Masood Azhar
preposterous.
to Afghanistan, sir.
This is
You carried Masood Azhar.
Sir, do you know
We
the
have,
circumstances?
we have murdered Masood Azhar's entire family, and we'll also get the head of Masood Azhar, my dear friend. Don't worry about it.
Okay, let me just get in, Rajat. 1 second,
You carried
Rajat.
him
1
there.
second, Mr. Sethi. Look, I don't want this to become a cacophonous debate, viewers.
Okay.
We have to separate the wheat from the chaff. We cannot go around creating exceptions anymore, Rajat Sethi, for people who constantly undermine the national interest and pass it off as opinion. Because today, that particular individual has a massive reach.
Yes.
This is no longer about people talking amongst themselves in a seminar room to 10 people. Their voice gets amplified, their voice gets picked up by our enemies and then made viral. People listen to it, impressionable minds view these videos. Rajat Sethi, this is a completely different level we are talking about tonight. And here we have people who can't call these people out for what they are, insurgents. Now you imagine someone sitting in Kashmir will say, no, you see the money. No, hang on. You know, they'll say that the water, for example, why are we stopping water for Pakistanis?
There were some
What is their
communists who
fault?
even paraded in the
What is-
streets of Calcutta,
Okay.
backing that.
Okay, one second. Yes, Rajat Sethi.
Sir, Mr. Jaishankar is the hero of the
Rahul,
Pak media
I don't-
today. You see the
Srivastava
statement
ji,
there.
please allow others.
He's
to
a
speak.
hero of the Pak
Carry on,
media
sir.
because Rahul Gandhi misinterpreted
Yes.
his statements and made him one. I'll
Yes,
come to
and
that
this
in
is
just a
Rahul
few
Gandhi.
moments.
He said
No,
it.
1 second.
He said it. He said it in his
Oh,
statement.
come on,
He
sir.
said
Please
again.
don't be
this-
so
come on,
don't
you
be
all
so
just
petty
stand
tonight.
for
No,
Rajat
no,
Gandhi.
1 second.
Don't
No,
mince
I'll
the
come back
words,
to
please.
we are having a separate debate on this. So
Don't
hang
mince
on.
the words.
Hold your fire,
Don't mince the
sir.
words.
Hold your fire because I know where you're going with
On your
this.
show, it's very difficult
I
to
know
hold
where you're
fire,
going.
Rahul.
1 second. Rajat Sethi, quick response.
Well, Rahul, I don't have a response to Mr. Srivastava's delusional
Don't
worldview.
give it to me.
He can live in his delusional worldview. Good luck to him. See, the problem that we are facing is a 98-2 problem. 98% of this country thinks how a rational nationalist mind should think. The problem is with this 2%, and most of these 2% have microphones with them. So they can broadcast their message at much higher, greater scale than what the 98 can do. The challenge before our country, therefore, is that how do you deal with clowns like Natasha Call? You can go out and cancel their OCI, they'll crib, they'll continue to write articles in influential dailies and try and craft a narrative against India. How should we do? And therefore, I have personally put in a thought, is a compulsory military service going to be a response to it, that all Indians, no matter what region, color, community that you come from, you need to have a compulsory 1-year military training the way Israel does? Can we do it at that scale of ours? Maybe, maybe not. Otherwise, what else can we do? It is individuals like yourself, Rahul, who are articulate, who've written such phenomenal books. You need to start writing and shaping the narrative globally and countering what the Natasha Calls of the world are trying to do. There is no other answer to these absolute anti-national elements that are growing and festering in our country. When I used to study at IIT, I can tell you, we used to go and visit JNU campuses. Back in those days also, they used to talk about our own parts of our own country in ways that Meghalaya ko azadi deni hai, Manipur ko azadi deni hai, Nagaland ko azadi deni hai. Those are the same lines that today Bangladesh chief advisor is talking about. So, you try and create these fault lines in our country only to be used by our anti-national forces around the world. They will use it, they will scavenge on it. But these idiots who do not understand the seriousness of what they are saying and writing, how do you deal with them? That is the real challenge. We need permanent solutions for this.
I agree with you, but only up till the point. I don't want to call these people idiots.
Absolutely.
They are not bumbling fools. Let me tell you, Rajat, they are playing to a particular plan. And that plan has been, look at what happened during the Kisan Andolan, viewers. Look at what happened during the Kisan Andolan. Political parties from the opposition went to these Kisan people. One of them was the Aam Aadmi Party, with pizzas and God alone knows what else. Food, blankets. They spent time there. And who has turned against the same Kisan, viewers? The Punjab government. Who runs the Punjab government? It's the AAP. This is a low-level intellectual insurgency that is being wielded against this country, viewers. And the people who are doing so flit in and out of the mainstream and into the underground. That's how it's happening. It's seamless almost. They say one thing to some audience and quite the other. And Ashutosh Mishra, I want to ask you, and I'm going to read out a sentence, and you have to tell me a very specific thing. Let me ask you this. Let me first quote this person. That is being called tourism is not that in my view. This is a cultural invasion. Now, the National Conference, sir, shares power with the Congress Party. It's an influential member of the India bloc. The India bloc, other parties, the UBT Shiv Sena, the NCP of Sharad Pawar, the TMC, the DMK, the Congress, the Samajwadi Party, the RJD have no problem with this statement. What would you call this group of people who think that tourists are cultural invaders, sir? What would you call them? In my book, they're hate mongers. What would you call them?
And I agree with you.
I agree with you. So then tell me, sir, why is Aga Rahula, why is the National Conference still part of the India bloc?
That's not for me to answer.
That is not for you to answer.
And in fact, if you are talking about India,
should he be?
A few days ago, Chidambaram wasn't sure whether India bloc is still sticking.
Oh, come on, sir. Let's not trivialize this debate. You know what I'm getting at. I want you to tell me, why is there silence? Now, hang on. If there was an individual within the BJP who came out and said, for example, that, you see, in the state of Uttar Pradesh, anyone that is coming from any other state is a cultural invader, what would your reaction have been, sir? Or, there have been people in the BJP who have said, for example, that Islamic people are cultural invaders and they continue to be militating against our Hindu culture. What do you call them, sir? You call them bigots. Yes or no? And you say action should be taken. Here you're saying ask those other people. Where is the activism, sir? Why aren't you coming out and saying that the Congress party is wrong to be in alliance with the NC?
Didn't I say as much that they are hate mongers? And
So
maybe
then tell me,
that's
sir,
why
if they are
Abdullah
hate mongers,
and
does that
and
make the Congress? No, no. Then
doesn't
what does that make the Congress?
Congress communal.
A party that is communal because its silence speaks louder than its words. Would you agree?
what I think you are trying to say here is this is the same national conference which was in alliance with BJP. Now the Abdullahs were Umar Abdullah was the minister in Vajpayee. So
But
maybe
anybody in NDA speaks
it's
the
that ideology
language
talking
of
about
NDA,
here.
my dear friend. In
Let's talk
NDA,
about
you abrogate Article
let's talk about
370.
what you
In
are here
UPA,
about.
you say Pakistan Zindabad. That's the difference, Ashutosh ji.
Get into so
Ashutosh ji.
what you are
Ashutosh ji,
starting
my
to show
simple
here
question
is-
in Rahul, I believe if these are hate.
Let him
Go
finish.
ahead.
One second, let him finish. You can respond. Yeah, Ashutosh Mishra, please finish your statement.
So what I was saying was.
So what
that
about
one
is your
very
response? Go ahead. For first
No,
response is what about them? Okay.
No, you are skirting the more important issue.
No, I'm asking you, this is the only issue.
Mr. Bhandari. The issue here is that why are political parties getting away with their anti-national stance? That's your question. And I'm asking
No,
the
that's
same
not my question, sir. My question
Yeah, I'm telling
is,
you.
if there are
I'm telling
political
you.
parties that are giving wide berth to bigotry, what does that make them, if not communal? Answer that question. Would you agree? Silence on Aga Rahula means that the Congress is communal. It plays the politics of appeasement. It has a problem with Hindus. Yes or no?
When I hear you talking about politics of appeasement, I am reminded about that BJP minister in Madhya Pradesh who was saying that Colonel Sufia Qureshi is sister of Pakistani terrorists. This talk about appeasement and vote politics is itself shows that the person who's talking about that is spreading communal bigotry. And BJP here is the main culprit because if you remember Jyotiraditta Scindia way back in 2017, when in Madhya Pradesh people were BJP and Bajrang Dal
I
people
believe
were
that hate is a too small a word. I will call them anti-national communal bigots because the birth of communal politics in this country happened because of the Congress party. Post-independence, I was listening to my dear friend. I was listening to
one
dear
second,
friend
one second. Ashutosh, you made a charge against the BJP.
Allow me to respond.
Okay, you made a charge against the BJP. There is a minister, and I've tweeted against this minister,
Yes.
Pradeep Bhandari. They are saying that, look, I mean, if anyone is playing the communal card, the appeasement card, it's the BJP. So everything is fair in love and war.
Well, first of all, we're waiting for the Supreme Court to take a decisive action. That is point number one on the minister's part. Ashutosh, please let's go back to history. The birth of communal politics has been Congress party. Maximum communal riots in this country has taken place during the time of Congress party. As per all the reports, the country is safest in the last 10 years vis-a-vis what it was in the time of Congress party. So the Congress's agenda is to pit a Hindu against the Muslim. Our agenda is not that. This is where if you see the maximum innocent lives lost in the riot has been during the time of the Congress party. Everybody remembers the infamous Calcutta riots. Everybody remembers the number of riots which took place during Nehruji's time. Everybody remembers the Muzaffarnagar riots. And for them, communal bigotry, secularism, this is where secularism
I want to, before I move on to the second part, viewers, before I move on to the, one second, gentlemen, before I pivot to the second part of this show, which is related in a sense, viewers, I just want to repeat what I said. India needs to make this malign ecosystem accountable, viewers. This is no longer about influence. It is about sovereignty and the way we define our sovereignty. Let me tell you, we are at that point of inflection. This has gone completely out of hand. We don't know anymore who is doing what to what end, because there is complete anarchy. And you know why, viewers? Because people are taking democracy for a ride in this country under the garb of freedom of expression. This is an example, viewers. This is an example of people crossing the Rubicon, the point of no return. What are we going to do about it? That's the question. Are we all going to sit here and attack each other, not allow for consensus, Or are we going to rise to the occasion and see this for what it is? An intellectual insurgency. Because let me tell you, there's no polite way, and I'm going to go to second part because this is very, very important. There's no polite way of saying this. But at a time when India is undertaking a massive outreach to put its point across to the world on the back of Operation Sindoor, our opposition is asking the wrong questions. Questions that are designed to weaken India's moral case by hyphenating it with Pakistan. The first blow has been struck by calling EAM, or the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, a traitor for this remark. Listen to this remark.
Start of the operation, we had sent a message to Pakistan saying we are striking at terrorist infrastructure, we are not striking at the military, so the military has an option of standing out and not interfering in this process. They chose not to take that good advice.
Now viewers, the entire Congress ecosystem has pounced on three words: at the start of. At the start of the operation, we had sent a message to Pakistan. Now the entire opposition Congress-led ecosystem says that Dr. Jaishankar has committed treason by tipping off the Pakistani military establishment about India's plans and thereby exposing the armed forces to losses. Rahul Gandhi says, informing Pakistan. Remember, they say that EAM said at the start of Operation Sindoor. So he says, Rahul Gandhi says, informing Pakistan at the start of our attack was a crime. Jaishankar has publicly admitted that government did it. Who authorized it? How many aircraft did our Air Force lose as a result? Aditya Thackeray has come out and said, Jaishankar said we informed Pakistan beforehand about the attack. Isn't this treachery? The India bloc, viewers, is refusing to let it go despite the MEA issuing a clarification on record. The MEA said, External Affairs Minister stated that we had warned Pakistan at the start that India will retaliate to any escalation, which is clearly the early phase after Operation Sindoor's commencement. This is being falsely represented as being before the commencement, unquote. At the start, he meant generically, viewers, saying that at the very beginning, we told them that, look, you have done what you have done in Pahalgam. Our response, and even the Prime Minister said, will be against your armed forces. Will not be against your armed forces, but will be against the terror infrastructure. How does that translate into a betrayal, treachery? I don't know. Has the opposition any sense? They would have heard what India's DGMO had to say. In fact, the EM statement is a facsimile of what the military has put out. Listen.
Being well aware and familiar with the congenital and impulsive nature of our adversary, and even though we did attempt to reach out and communicate our compulsions to strike at the heart of terror to my counterpart in the immediate wake of Operation Sindoor, the request was brusquely turned down, with an intimation that a severe response was inevitable and in the offing. We were, of course, prepared.
With an intimation that a severe response was inevitable and in the offing. Shockingly, this facile controversy has only served Pakistan's interest that has splashed Rahul Gandhi's statements to suggest that India exaggerated its military achievements to cover for its own substantial losses. Of course, this isn't the first time the Congress ecosystem and the Pakistani state put themselves echoing each other, viewers. On 370, they mirrored each other. That was the statement. The Congress said, protested against abrogation, Pakistan campaigned for its restoration. Balakot strike, Pakistan denied that India's Balakot strike was successful. Congress said nothing happened in Balakot. Surgical strike couldn't be seen. On CA, Pakistan slammed the NDA legislation, calling it discriminatory against Indian Muslims. Congress intoned, CA is patently discriminatory against Muslims. It must go. Let me open this up, viewers. There's a fifth column, people would say, in this country. We don't have to look beyond for enemies. There's a fifth column in this country. And there is, of course, can you believe it, viewers? A Shiv Sena leader who has come out and said that India's decision to send its diplomats all over the world to build a case in different global capitals is And you won't believe what they said, viewers. They said, okay, 1 second. What are you holding up?
No, this is the MOU because of which Rahul Gandhi is exactly doing
Okay, I'm
what
coming
he's
to
doing.
that.
Yes.
You know what they said, viewers? It was a waste of time. They said, it's all optics. They said, it is a tamasha. So I want to ask C.S. Jha, leader of the Shivsena UBT, sir, speaking up for your country, speaking up for India, how is that a waste of time? How is it a tamasha? How is it tourism? To quote Sanjay Raut. How is it tourism? What do you want us to do?
See, the first thing is that the opposition completely supported this government when the Operation Sindhu was launched.
Sir, I'm asking you, please tell me, Sanjay Raut came out and said that this is tourism by another name. You know what he has said. Should I play out the soundbite? Should I bring it out for you? Mr. Jha, can't you take a position in your national interest, or you don't want to support your country?
See, we always support our country in every
How is
sphere.
Sanjay Raut saying that this is tourism?
And
Can you
if
imagine,
see-
viewers, today
if you
Pakistan
see-
is looking for every
if you
way
see- you
to
have
steal a
to-
march
you
over
have to
India,
get-
to convince the global capitals of the world, to convince the world that India is a transgressor of international law. And what are we doing? We are sending out our teams, 7 or 8 teams, to convince the world that do not believe Pakistani propaganda. Pakistan
See,
has got
what-
away,
what-
and we
what
are being
the teams are
proactive.
being-
And tomorrow, Pakistanis
What the
will say,
teams
even
are
the
being-
Indian leaders say
Huh?
this is tourism. They have nothing to say. They're going to cook
they
up
have nothing
lies.
to say. It's a very clear thing because
Mr. Jha,
everybody
do you
knows
agree
that
with
the
this
opposition-
statement? Yes or no? Please
see,
take a
see,
position
see,
tonight. I don't like
see,
people who
see,
sit
I'm
on the...
taking a
No, I'm
position.
asking you, take a position.
It has
Do you
to be
think Sanjay
explained.
Raut
It has
is
to be
right?
explained,
That
then
this
I will
was...
take my position.
Excuse me, sir, if you support the government so
I have
much,
to
if you
take a
support the
position
country so much,
because I'll have to
why
explain
are
all
you
the
calling an outreach program tourism?
Yes, it's
Answer
a
me.
tourism. It's a tourism. If you say so, it's a tourism.
It's a
Why
tourism.
I should explain it? Why I should explain it? Because the thing is that the LOP had called for an emergency parliamentary meeting. And this emergency parliamentary meeting was called
For what,
to
sir?
explain
What is
on
it
the
that- what is
Operation
it that has
Sindhu
not been told
and
to you?
what has happened in Operation Sindhu.
You have seen the photographs. It has been the most transparent
The
exposition.
Indian media
You have
has
had the
navigated
DGMOs, not
many
1,
fake
not 2,
things.
not 3, but
See,
4 of
Indian
them.
media has
Excuse me,
navigated
Mr.
many
Jha.
fake things.
I want you to
And
tell me,
everybody
you
fought
believe
for
this is
quality.
tourism? You believe
Many
this is
channels
tourism?
have fought for
Mr.
Rahul,
Bhandari,
let me
what
tell
are you
you,
doing?
let me
This is
tell you.
tourism.
Rahul, I'll tell you
This is tourism,
what-
Mr. Bhandari.
What
Let
is
me
says C.S.
happening,
Jha.
Rahul, what is happening is...
You know what he's going to say next? Oh, we have great envoys in these foreign capitals. Why aren't they doing their job? Why are
Rahul.
ministers being rushed? Why are MPs being rushed? This is what they're going to
Rahul,
say.
General Bipin
It's a
Rawat
paid
spoke
holiday.
about 2.5 front war. This is exactly what he was speaking about. I am saying something extremely serious. What the Rahul Gandhi-led Indian opposition is doing, it is very strategic. It is doing what Pakistan and China wants it. It wants to shift the narrative away from India's
Why
victory
did you declare
towards
ceasefire?
India's
If you want to say
fictitious
that, why did you
losses.
declare ceasefire?
Please note,
Under whose
Rahul,
instructions? Everybody
entire
knows.
world
If
right
that
now
question
is
erupt,
of this
then
global
everything has to erupt.
consensus
Now
that
the media
India
has to
has
discuss everything
defeated and smashed Pakistan. Not one international expert is disagreeing with this. At this moment, if the leader of opposition, who is quoted in the Pakistani media, is the Pakistani media poster boy, would end up getting more votes in Pakistan than in India, is saying something which is exactly being parroted by the Pakistanis at a critical time when the entire global consensus is with India. Who sits with Ilhan Omar here? Who's with an anti-India element,
that's the
Ilhan Omar?
photograph.
Whose statement has been quoted by Pakistan in UNHRC? He has been quoted by Pakistan in UNHRC, is yet again doing what he always does, weakening India's collective sovereignty and collective resolve
Viewers,
at a time when
here
the
is-
world is with India.
here is
because
Ilhan
for them,
Omar.
because
Why
with them,
don't you-
Rahul,
why don't you-
enemy is a
One
misunderstood
One
friend.
second. Look at the
On the
pictures. Viewers, just a
parliament.
minute. Mr. Jha, 1 second. This is Ilhan Omar, viewers. This lady dressed in black. And she is right now with Rahul Gandhi there in a kurta. Now, viewers, Ilhan Omar is a person who actually says that India has illegally occupied Kashmir.
Kashmir.
What does the leader of the opposition have to do with someone like that? I don't understand.
Pannu?
One second. I don't know about Pannu. I'm talking about Ilhan Omar because there's photographic evidence of the two of them in the same room.
No, Pannu echoed Rahul
There is
Gandhi's
also
statement.
another individual.
Even
called,
a terrorist like Pannu.
There's also another individual.
Hafiz Saeed praised the Congress party.
Let me just look, hang on. Ashutosh Mishra, you had a problem taking a position in the last debate. I'm asking you tonight. Is this tourism? And if it isn't tourism, can you tell me why an ally of the Congress party, a very principled ally of the Congress party, in its own words, it calls itself the most principled party around, the UBT Shiv Sena, and its leaders today are sharing a platform with Rahul Gandhi, with other political parties of the India Alliance. So they have a tie-up with Raga Ahula, who calls Indians going to Kashmir, one second, cultural invaders. And you have another bunch, viewers, who say that India's outreach is tourism. So I want you to explain to me.
Rahul,
One
just
second,
10 seconds.
let him respond. Let him respond. I'll give you time. No problem. Yes. Mr. Mishra. There's a pattern here, sir. Mr. Mishra, there's a pattern.
Yeah, the pattern here is that the Prime Minister, who does not think he should come to an all-party meeting, is sending an all-party delegation which does not have any representative from the top three opposition parties.
What is he saying?
What are you saying?
Is Shashi
What
Tharoor
is
not
Shashi
from the
Tharoor?
opposition? Is Anand Sharma not from the opposition? What is he saying?
What are you saying?
He's half read.
The number one,
Is Supriya Sule not from the
number
opposition?
one political party, opposition political party in seat terms. 100 seats it has got. God alone knows.
99.
God
No,
alone knows.
it's not
God
100.
knows. Okay,
It's 99.
99.
Yes,
God
it's in
alone
double
knows,
digit.
viewers. God alone knows what people saw. But nonetheless, this is a democracy. People are allowed to vote. I just hope that they know what they voted for. They voted for an individual who goes and stands with Ilhan Omar. Votes for an individual who shares a stage with an individual called Aditya Thackeray, who goes out there and says that, oh, the EAM is lying because he misused 3 words. They want to take it literally when he was meaning it generically. Viewers, no, hang on. So I want to ask you, Mr. Please respond. Ashutosh Mishra, please respond.
What is the question?
The question is very straightforward, sir. Isn't there a pattern here of undermining India's
He's
interests?
speechless today.
From
I'm just
Kashmir
telling-
down to...
I'm just telling, and you interrupted me. I was answering that question. So I thought maybe you have a new question. The pattern here is very simple, and I have said it on your show before also, that what you are confusing here is between an Indian Deshbhakt, a nationalist who loves India, and a Modi Andhbhakt who will believe anything what Modi says is true, and anyone
Allow me
who
10 seconds,
talks against Modi is to be painted with this brush of being anti-national. People don't have to prove their nationality. Indians don't have to prove their nationality. Maybe BJP suffered from this because before independence, its idols were all.
Let me tell you, viewers.
20 seconds, Rahul.
One second, just one quick one.
have to
Nationalist,
keep
he said.
giving this
Nationalist.
up.
Nationalist, viewers. Rahul Gandhi is a nationalist, says Ashutosh Mishra. Rahul Gandhi shares the roof with his brother-in-law, Robert Vadra. Do you know what Robert Vadra said after the Pahalgam attacks, viewers? That this was a result of Hindutva terror. This was a backlash to Hindutva terror. So you gave viewers completely a clean chit to Pak-sponsored terrorism. No wonder the Pakistanis are saying the Indian attacks on them are illegal, unlawful, unprovoked, faked, or on a fake basis, manufactured evidence. Because you have enough people from that family. Viewers, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra wore the bag of Palestine into parliament. Palestine has taken an anti-India position. The only country that has taken a overtly pro-India position is Israel. If they are such nationalists, would they wear Israel bag on their backs and go to parliament? No, viewers, they won't.
Rahul.
They won't. Yeah, very quickly. Yes, I want to
15
bring in Rajat
seconds.
Sethi.
Hafiz Saeed is a terrorist. And this Hafiz Saeed praises the Congress party and says that he speaks to the Congress party. So is it nationalist of the Congress party to be praised by the global terrorist and India's biggest terrorist Hafiz Saeed And I'll tell you exactly the logic of Congress party is similar, that when George W. Bush, when Osama bin Laden attacked US on 9/11 and he globally declared that we will go after Osama bin Laden, as per Rahul Gandhi's caricature, miniature logic and a childish logic, he said George Bush would have called Osama bin Laden saying, "Ki main aa raha hu marne ke liye, tum chup jao." This is exactly what Rahul Gandhi is saying. A Prime Minister has told the world that we'll go after Pakistan. And I'm telling you, we will also take the head of Masood Azhar in our side.
Rajat Sethi.
Rahul, you were asking about what is that pattern. The pattern is that whenever our country is in crisis, you have a very, very set format of cognitive malfunction that happens to all the opposition leaders in the same pattern. Rahul Gandhi, then you'll see the ilk of UBT's Skyen, all of these princelings who have not done an iota for this country. They have this collective malfunctioning of their grey cells together, wherein they can't even comprehend a basic sentence. Now, let me tell this straight to Rahul Gandhi. I know for sure, and you can call it that I'm warning and I'm an international and warning Pakistan. If tomorrow, if Pakistan attempts to do another terrorist strike, we will again go back and again try and attack their terror bases. Now, how is this statement going in warning the Pakistanis? I mean, you need to have basic common sense. I mean, we are not even expecting anything more deeper from you. You have been shredded. This party, this grand old party, has now been cornered in the entire country. Rahul. It is exactly
but I have to say one thing.
Whenever it comes to national interest, they will show their real faces, and all these people sitting on a television show who will give away their own sense of comprehension just to save this idiot.
Well, that's why I said
that's the whole problem.
India needs to make this malign ecosystem accountable. This is no longer about influence, bad influence, good influence. This is about the country's sovereignty. It has to stop, viewers. This has to stop. We have to call it out for what it is. You have people in the Congress party. You had Rahul Gandhi, who stood with an individual who is in jail even as we speak, because in JNU who got up and said that Afzal Guru's hanging was a judicial execution.
Umar
Khalid is still in jail, not getting any reprieve from
Rahul.
the courts. Viewers, 1 second. I need to move on in this show because there's a very, very important story. Talking about divisive agendas now. India is doing, as you know, phenomenally well. It is racing ahead because it is being built by the industriousness and the genius of its hardworking people. We don't talk about it enough, viewers. But India's most underrated resource is its people. In no other part of the world do so many from such a diverse set of backgrounds converge effortlessly without friction to produce miracles and marvels with such ease. That's why Pakistan-based terrorists attacked our people in Pahalgam. The idea was to create fissures among ordinary Indians, make the majority suspicious of the minority, break down social trust. Nothing derails a nation more from the path of prosperity than civil unrest, viewers. But the Pakistan-based terrorists and cross-border terror plan failed spectacularly in Pahalgam. Instead of turning upon each other, Indians united like never before. The result was an unprecedented united backing for Operation Sindoor. At a tactical level, the military operation that saw the factories of jihad in Pakistan being bombed into the dirt represented a paradigm shift in military posture that has totally changed the rules of modern warfare, especially between nuclear dyads. But even though it was hit and humiliated, Pakistan didn't give up trying. A few days after India's Operation Sindoor, Pakistan escalated the conflict. This time it secretly tried to target the iconic Golden Temple, the seat of Sikhism in India. We would never have known had one of India's top military commanders, Major General Shehsadri, GOC of the 15th Infantry Division, confirmed this on record today. The GOC also confirmed how India's own Iron Dome intercepted the wave upon wave of incoming projectiles aimed at the Golden Temple and defeated the Pakistani devilish design. Listen in.
He has even targeted religious places specifically. A case in point being the Golden Temple located in Amritsar, which is internationally renowned and a place of faith for everybody. It saw a surfeit of drone and missile attacks, which were thwarted bravely by our army AD gunners. the Indian Armed Forces and Army Air Defence Gunners will continue to defeat all his designs and thwart all aerial threats.
Now, viewers, it is important to understand that Pakistan's choice of target was not a random one. Many analysts say Pakistan was hoping to spark unrest in Punjab. Had the Golden Temple been hit, Pakistan's disinformation machinery would have gone into overdrive. It would have seeded social media through influencers with some pernicious thoughts. Guess who, viewers? Influencers like Jyoti. First and most salient, that Indian military staged a false flag operation, they would say, to blow up the Golden Temple just to implicate Pakistan irrespective of the cost to Sikhs, so that they could get an excuse to target Pakistan. This theory may sound outlandish to you, but don't forget that Pakistan did try to pull off such a stunt. Remember, it bombed a Gurdwara in Poonch sector, but instead of owning up to its crime, it suggested it was the Indian armed forces that did it. India's Foreign Secretary on May 9 had to hold a briefing putting out facts to disprove Pakistan's, quote, preposterous, unquote, claims. In fact, Vikram Misri used the term, quote, deranged fantasy, unquote, to dismiss Pakistan's malicious attempt to sow the seeds of civil unrest in India. There's every reason, therefore, to suspect that Pakistan would have spun another deranged fantasy to trick Indians to target their own government and forces. Viewers, that is the fact of the matter. I leave it at this tonight.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
They will try devious means, devious methods, but salute to our forces, our brave hearts, and of course the political establishment of the day that has worked towards designing a defense system that secures Bharat and its people. They decimated, destroyed with their guns, with their artillery shelling in Poonch Gurdwara, which also resulted in the lives of 4 Granthis being taken, and there were certain very young boys, Sikh boys, who have been maimed, who have been very severely injured in Poonch. But look what they tried with Amritsar and with Darbar Sahib, deliberately trying to bomb it, to try and drop a loitering munition, drone-backed explosives, or even a missile projectile at Harmandir Sahib. And there's a very, very devious narrative to it. But I hope the world is watching. Hope those who believe Pakistan have any empathy for Sikh or Sikhi are also watching this very, very carefully. Ramnik Maan with us. Colonel Ajay K. Raina, defense expert, will be joining us. He is also with us. And we also will be joined by Ambassador Deepak Vora, who should be joining us in any moment now. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. Thank you. Ramnik Maan.
Namaste, Jai Hind.
Sat Sri Akal ji. Sir, I just want to ask you, Ramnik Maan, on that night, on the intervening night of 7th and 8th, there were many who were saying that something is afoot because there were certain K handles, Khalistani handles, those who are also Pak proxies and puppets, who are asking the Sikh community to be aware. I hope you saw all of that, Ramnik Maan. What do you think was the intent behind the Pakistanis trying to target Harmandir Sahib?
Well, very clearly that we have a very strong social fabric, and there is a very strong bonhomie between Hindus and Sikhs, and there is no difference per se. They are trying to create a wedge, not just between the communities, but also Sikhs versus India, Sikhs versus Delhi. So the intent is very clear. They want Sikhs to revolt against the establishment, the government of the day, the Prime Minister, per se, in person. They have tried several times and they have failed. And they will always fail in every attempt when they try to divide, Sikhs from India or to take away. The basic point here is, the thing is that we don't differentiate when it comes to nationality. We don't want to be seen as next to anyone when it comes to national security. So any matter where it is about the national security, you will always see Sikhs in the front line. You know, the iconic photograph of the surrender of General A.A.K. Niazi. On Niazi's right, you see a Sikh general officer, General Jasjit Singh Arora, General J.S. Arora, an iconic army officer, and that is something which has been the bane of Pakistanis. The only thing common between us and them is the language. No cultural commonality, there is no religious commonality. So they must have tried to attack not just Darbar Sahib, you know, mind you, it also, the same complex also houses Sri Akal Takht Sahib. Akal Takht Sahib is the highest sectoral body for Sikhs. You know, this is very important. So they must have tried like they tried in 71, and they have been peddling lies. And I've been saying this over and over. I don't know why the agencies or why the people concerned in the power corridors are not bothered about it. Kathavachaks and the sons and babas per se are the ones who have to be very carefully seen. Instead, they have been given X, Y, Z security. So these people enjoy the perks and privileges of the nation and they act against the national security. Why hasn't anyone spoken? Surprisingly, when this intent was exposed by, a very dear friend on the same night, the reaction of SGPC was very strange. And they actually filed a police complaint against that handle with Punjab Police. And now that Indian Army is confirmed, I also wish to know that the Shaheen that they had, shot at us, which was brought down by one S-400, the trajectory will tell what was the target. The country should know what are Pakistan's up to. And for Sikhs and Khalistanis, make sure. One brief moment, sir. When you refer to Khalistanis, let's keep two separate boxes. One box for the Khalistanis, the other for the Sikhs. Khalistanis are not Sikhs. They may appear like a Sikh, they may behave or try to show themselves like a Sikh, but they're not Sikhs. 87% of the Sikh population lives in India.
Ideally, those who are talking about even a land.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
They will try devious means, devious methods, but salute to our forces, our brave hearts, and of course the political establishment of the day that is.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. More than 10 days after Operation Sindoor was launched, more than a week after the ceasefire was announced, more details are emerging on how Pakistan tried to divide and attack India. They killed Hindus in Pahalgam and they tried to target Sikhs in Amritsar. The Indian Army says Pakistan tried to attack the Golden Temple. We will tell you what followed and decode the plot. Meanwhile, Indian agencies are busting a Pakistani spy ring. A YouTuber and 11 others have been arrested. In Pakistan, another Lashkar terrorist has been killed and another funeral has been held with a terrorist draped in their national flag. Also, more links between US President Donald Trump and Pakistan are emerging. Is he showing sympathy to them because of business deals? We'll tell you. The IMF swings